Those filled with power are like newborn children. Poisonous insects will not sting them. Ferocious beasts will not pounce upon them. Predatory birds will not swoop down on them. Their bones are pliable, their muscles tender, but their grip is firm. They have never known the union of man and woman, but the organ is fully formed, meaning that the vital essence is strong. They may cry all day without getting hoarse, meaning that the harmony is perfect. To know harmony is to be in accord with the eternal. To know the eternal is to be enlightened. To try to force life is ominous. To force the vital essence with the mind is violence. The prime is past, and decay follows, meaning that it is contrary to the way. Whatever is contrary to the way will soon perish. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Close the mouth, shut the doors, smooth the sharpness, untie the tangles, dim the glare, calm the turmoil. This is mystical unity. Those achieving it are detached from friends and enemies, from benefit and harm, from honor and disgrace. Therefore, they are the most valuable people in the world. States are governed by justice. Wars are waged by violations. The world is mastered by non-intervention. How do I know this? By this. The more restrictions there are, the poorer the people. The more sharp weapons, the more trouble in the state. The more clever cunning, the more contrivances. The more rules and regulations, the more thieves and robbers. Therefore the wise say, do not interfere, and people transform themselves. Love peace, and people do what is right. Do not intervene, and people prosper. Have no desires, and people live simply. When the government is relaxed, people are happy. When the government is strict, people are anxious. Good fortune leans on bad fortune. Bad fortune hides behind good fortune. Who knows the results of process? Is there no justice? When the just become unjust, goodness becomes evil. People have been deluded for a long time. Therefore the wise are square, but not cornered, sharp, but not cutting, straight, but not strained, brilliant, but not dazzling. In leading people and serving heaven, it is best to be frugal. Being frugal is to be prepared from the start. Being prepared from the start is to build up power. By building up power, nothing is impossible. If nothing is impossible, then there are no limits. Those without limits are capable of leading a country. Those with maternal leadership can long endure. This is to be deeply rooted in a firm foundation, the way of long life and eternal vision. Leading a large country is like cooking a small fish. When the world is led in accord with the way, spirits lose their powers. It is not that they lose their powers, but that their powers no longer harm people. Not only do the spirits not harm people, but the wise also do not harm people. Not harming each other, spiritual power grows. A large country is like lowland where rivers flow, a place where everything comes together, the female of all. The female overcomes the male with tranquility. Tranquility is underneath. A large country wins over a small country by placing itself below the small country. A small country wins over a large country by placing itself below the large country. Thus some win by placing themselves below, and others win by being below. A large country wants to protect people, and a small country wants to join and serve. Thus both get what they want. It is best for the large country to place itself below. The way is sacred to all things. It is treasure for the good and sanctuary for the bad. Fine words can buy honor. Good deeds can gain respect. Though there be bad people, why reject them? Therefore, at the crowning of the emperor, or at the installation of the 3 ministers, instead of sending gifts of jade and a team of 4 horses, remain still and send the way. Why did the ancients prize this way? Did they not say, "Seek and you will find, let go and you will be forgiven"? Therefore the way is valued by the world. Act without interfering. Work without doing. Taste the tasteless. Large or small, many or few, repay injury with goodness. Handle the difficult while it is still easy. Handle the big while it is still small. Difficult tasks begin with what is easy. Great accomplishments begin with what is small. Therefore the wise never strive for the great and thus achieve greatness. Rash promises inspire little trust. Taking things too lightly results in much difficulty. Thus the wise always confront difficulties and therefore have no difficulty. What stays still is easy to hold. Without omens, it is easy to plan. The brittle is easy to shatter. The minute is easy to scatter. Handle things before they appear. Organize things before there is confusion. A tree as big as a person's embrace grows from a tiny shoot. A tower 9 stories high begins with a mound of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles begins under one's feet. To act is to fail. To grab is to lose. Therefore the wise do not act and do not fail. They do not grab and do not lose. In handling things, people usually fail when they are about to succeed. Be as careful at the end as at the beginning, and there will be no failure. Therefore the wise desire to have no desires. They do not value rare treasures. They learn what is unknown, returning to what many have missed, so that all things may be natural without interference. The ancients who ruled skillfully did not try to enlighten people, but kept them in the dark. People are hard to lead when they are too clever. Those who lead with cleverness rob the country. Those who lead without cleverness bless the country. Understanding these two is to know the eternal standard. Knowing the eternal standard is mystical power. Mystical power is deep and far-reaching, leading all things to return to perfect harmony. Great rivers and seas are lords of all mountain streams because they are good at staying below them. Therefore they are lords of the streams. Thus the wise, in watching over the people, speak humbly from below the people, and in leading the people, get behind them. In this way the wise watch over the people but do not oppress them. They lead the people but do not block them. Thus everyone happily goes along without getting tired. Because they do not compete, the world cannot compete with them. Everyone says the way is great and beyond comparison. Because it is great, it cannot be compared. If it were compared, it already would have seemed small. I have 3 treasures to be maintained and cherished. The first is love. The second is frugality. The third is not pushing oneself ahead of others. From love comes courage. From frugality comes generosity. From not pushing oneself ahead of others comes leadership. Now courage without love, generosity without frugality, and leadership by pushing oneself ahead of others are fatal. For love wins all battles and is the strongest defense. Heaven gives love to save and protect. The best soldier is not violent. The best fighter is not angry. The best winner is not contentious. The best employer is humble. This is known as the power of not striving, as ability in human relations, and as being in accord with heaven. The strategists say, do not be the aggressor but the defender. Do not advance an inch, but retreat a foot instead. This is movement without moving, stretching the arm without showing it, confronting enemies with the idea there is no enemy, holding in the hand no weapons. No disaster is greater than underestimating the enemy. Underestimating the enemy will destroy my treasures. Thus, when the battle is joined, it is the kind who will win. My ideas are easy to understand and easy to practice, yet no one understands them or practices them. My ideas have a source, my actions have a master. Because people do not understand this, they do not know me. Since few know me, I am very precious. Therefore the wise wear coarse clothes and keep the jewel inside. To know that you do not know is the best. To think you know when you do not is a disease. Recognizing this disease as a disease is to be free of it. The wise are free of disease because they recognize the disease as a disease. Therefore they are free of disease. When people lack a sense of awe, then something awful will happen. Do not constrict people's living space. Do not suppress their livelihoods. If you do not harass them, they will not harass you. Therefore the wise know themselves but do not display themselves. They love themselves but do not exalt themselves. They let go of one and accept the other. Those brave in killing will be killed. Those brave in not killing will live. Of these two, one is good and one is harmful. Some are not favored by heaven. Who knows why? Even the wise consider it a difficult question. The way of heaven does not strive, yet it wins easily. It does not speak, yet it gets a good response. It does not demand, yet all needs are met. It is not anxious, yet it plans well. The net of heaven is vast, its meshes are wide, but nothing slips through. People are not afraid to die, so why threaten them with death? If people were afraid of death, and lawbreakers could be caught and put to death, who would dare to do so? There is the Lord of Death who executes. Trying to do his job is like trying to cut wood for the master carpenter. Those who try to cut wood for the master carpenter rarely escape injuring their own hands. People are hungry because rulers eat too much tax grain. That is why people are starving. People are hard to govern because rulers interfere too much. That is why they are hard to govern. People do not care about death because rulers demand too much of life. That is why they do not care about death. Only those who do not interfere with living are best at valuing life. When people are born, they are tender and supple. At death, they are stiff and hard. All things, like plants and trees, are tender and pliant while alive. At death, they are dried and withered. Therefore the stiff and hard are companions of death. The tender and supple are companions of life. Thus strong arms do not win. A stiff tree will break. The hard and strong will fall. The tender and supple will rise. The way of heaven is like bending a bow. The high is lowered, the low is raised. The excessive is reduced, the deficient is increased. The way of heaven takes from those who have too much and gives to those who do not have enough. The human way is different. It takes from those who do not have enough and gives to those who have too much. Who has more than enough to give to the world? Only the person of the way. Therefore the wise act, but do not rely on their own ability. They accomplish the task, but claim no credit. They have no desire to seem superior. Nothing in the world is softer and weaker than water, yet nothing is better at attacking the hard and strong. There is no substitute for it. The weak overcomes the strong. The soft overcomes the hard. Everyone knows this, but no one puts it into practice. Therefore the wise say, those who bear the humiliation of the people are able to minister to them. Those who take upon themselves the sins of the society are able to lead the world. Words of truth seem paradoxical. Compromising with great hatred surely leaves some hatred. How can this be considered good? Therefore the wise keep their part of an agreement and do not blame the other party. The good fulfill their obligations. The bad exact obligations from others. The way of heaven is impartial. It always stays with the good. In a small country with few people, machines that can work 10 or 100 times faster are not needed. People who care about death do not travel far. Even if there are ships and carriages, no one takes them. Even if there are armor and weapons, no one displays them. People return to knotted rope for records. Food is tasty, clothes are beautiful, home is comfortable, customs are delightful. Though neighboring communities see each other and hear each other's cocks crowing and dogs barking, they may grow old and die without going there. True words are not beautiful. Beautiful words are not truthful. The good do not argue. Those who argue are not good. Those who know are not scholarly. The scholarly do not know. The wise do not hoard. The more they give to others, the more they have. The way of heaven sharpens but does no harm. The way of the wise accomplishes without striving.